So the blue button says we are now on air. I'm here with Goodfella. How are you, mate?
I'm very good, thank you. Thank you. Just a quick, I might ask you just a minute ago, when you said Ripper in that Twitter message, what does that mean in Australia? Twitter?
Oh,
Ripper.
It means fucking horrendous. Fuck you. Get out of my life. No, it means great. It means good.
Right. Okay. Okay. I mean, it's just the Australian slang is quite funny. I was watching Payback, the Mel Gibson movie.
Oh yeah.
I was watching that on Amazon Prime a couple of weeks ago, and some facts about the movie come up at the side while you're watching it.
Yeah.
And one of them was they had to change the tagline in Australia because the original tagline was "Prepare to root for the bad guy." And they had to change that to "Prepare to cheer for the bad guy" because root means sexual intercourse. I thought that was quite amusing. You know, all these little things have to change.
Yeah. Root means fucking. Well, I'm sure there's some Scottish stuff that I'd find. Do you guys say lovely jubbly, or is that an Irish thing?
No, we would say it comes from Del Boy and Only Fools and Horses. That was his like catchphrase. He would always say lovely jubbly, but we would say that here, yes, but in a mocking way, you know, lovely jubbly, like a Cockney accent.
Yeah.
But it's not something that comes from here. It's a Cockney thing, and it's mainly Del Boy that says it from. Do you even know what Only Fools and Horses is? Have you ever heard of that?
No, we don't have a clue. I assume it's a TV show.
It's quite well known here. Lovely jubbly was Del Boy's catchphrase. You know, it's definitely something that's used now and again.
You know what I was thinking before is seeing as the YouTube's based in LA, and one would assume that the auto captions, the auto subtitles that you can put on. One would assume that they're programmed to an American accent. What's going to be interesting is listening back to this stream with automatic subtitles on and seeing how much it fucks up as Scott and an Aussie fucking droning on.
It's got to get a lot wrong.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so we're here to talk about recent incident you had, and I think most of my audience do know about it. I did mention it in a video a few days ago. Where you were arrested and fucking locked up for the weekend. Was it last weekend or the weekend before?
I think it might have been 3 weekends before, but I think it was like 3 weeks ago. I think.
But you were locked up for 3 days for a fucking tweet.
For a tweet. It's unbelievable. And I mean, people watching who don't know right away, they're probably thinking, that I threatened to kill the Queen or something like that, or something along those lines. But it was just well, when I say a tweet, I don't know who posted the tweet. Wink, wink. But whoever posted the tweet said, "Where's a Muslim with a truck when you need one?" And then #Pride Glasgow, which is the Gay Pride Parade in Glasgow, and the director of Gay Pride Glasgow, which is a charity, by the way. I don't know why, but it is a charity. He then went to the police station. He didn't phone. He went to the police station and complained about the tweet. And then the police came to my door and detained me and then arrested me for a hate crime. That's what they said. It was a hate crime for something about the Communications Act. I committed a hate crime of a sexual and religious nature. That's what they said.
Fucking hell. So, I mean, he would have had to have read that tweet and interpreted it in the worst way possible. I mean, you could have meant anything. So you've said, "Where's a Muslim with a truck when you was it where's a Muslim or where's a?"
No, Muslim. It was where's a Muslim with a truck. It wasn't where's a terrorist with a truck. It was where's a Muslim with a truck, and they must have interpreted that as meaning terrorist. In fact, the police actually told me that. They read the tweet out and then they said to me, "We and we take that to mean terrorist." They actually said that to me. you know. So they think that a Muslim with a truck was a terrorist.
So in other words, the Glasgow police have told you that in their interpretation, Muslim means terrorist.
Pretty much, yes.
That is shocking.
Much, which is it's shocking, and it's. I mean, we've got quite a large Muslim population here. You know, they've got like their own area. You know, and they've been here for many years. You know, for many years since I was a wee boy, they've been here. So you know, we've not really had any trouble with them. And I think they would be rather upset if they knew that that's what not only the Scottish police think of them, but what the Gay Pride director thinks of them.
Yeah. Has there ever been an Islamic terrorist attack in Scotland?
Well, there was one in Glasgow airport, but it failed. What happened was a guy. He was a Muslim. He got like a Range Rover, and he'd filled that with gas canisters, and he crashed into Glasgow airport, right? Or he tried to crash into Glasgow airport. He completely failed, right? By the way, he was a doctor, right? So don't believe the hype when people say they're vulnerable young boys. This man was a doctor, right? Wow. And he crashed into the airport, completely failed. His Range Rover, I believe it was a Range Rover, went on fire, right? He came out, this is what's funny about it. He came out the car on fire, right? Because he failed. And one of the guys that worked at Glasgow airport was kicking his head in as he was on fire. So it was a massive fail. And see the guy that did this. He gets like free beers everywhere he goes now. he never has to buy another beer.
The bloke who was kicking him.
Because I mean, it was just like he was on the. Billy Connolly was talking about this once as well. He was on the news, and he said he was getting interviewed, and he said, "This is Glasgow. If you try that stuff here, we'll set about you." You know, and it was really funny, you know, because it was just like everybody then started to say, John Smeaton, there's Sarah saying his name. John Smeaton was his name. And then everybody started to say, you know, it was a big mistake trying that in Glasgow, you know, and it gave us that kind of, you know, tough image, you know. Just like don't mess with Glasgow, man. You could try that stuff elsewhere, but if you do that here, we'll kick your head in while you're on fire. We don't have any sympathy for you, you know.
We don't give a fuck if you're on fire.
Excellent, man.
Spot on. Just quickly before we go on, if anyone does want to do a super chat, I'd ask for this stream. There's a link in the description to Goodfella's PayPal account. Instead of doing a super chat for this stream, if you want to send that to Goodfella's PayPal to go towards his legal fund if he needs it. If he doesn't need it, he'll go have some beers. But either way, if we can divert them, that'd be great. So tell us about take us through it from the start. So you were just sitting at home one Friday night, and did you get a phone call, or did you get a knock at the door?
No, it was a knock at the door, and it's weird because I never answer the door if I don't know who it is. If I'm not expecting someone, I don't answer the door. And for some reason, I just felt I'll just answer it. I don't know. And when I opened the door, 2 police officers standing there, 1 man, 1 woman. The man, by the way, I think I should point out, I don't think I pointed this out yet, was a Muslim. Right, just pointing that out, right? Nope. I think he's the one who kind of had it in for me, right? I think he's the one that was kind of behind the push because the police could have just ignored this. They could have just went, look, we don't have time for this. But hang on a sec. They pushed it.
Hang on a sec. So the Glasgow police have effectively told you that in our eyes, Muslim means terrorist. And so this Muslim cop is obviously going along with it. You'd think he'd have said something and said, hang on a sec, that's a bit fucking... They like the victim status, though. Some of them, they like the victim status, and there's a clear push from not just Scotland, but from the whole of the British police. There is a massive push for hate crimes. You know, that's like the front line now. Hate crimes, and I just said the other day on Twitter, and I don't know if you guys will see it because you're not here in Britain, but a lot of the British
official Twitter accounts for the police. They're posting all these images of them wearing like high heels, painted nails, like their cars with the rainbow and stuff on them, you know, and they keep posting this stuff. And I think they're doing it so that they'll get a negative response, and then they can use some of those responses as hate crimes to get the stats up. Because crime is going down now. There's still crime, but there's not as much as there used to be. So they need a job to do. So now they're picking on hate crimes. And in my view, you know, if you were to say to me that I'm going to be a victim of a hate crime, but it just turned out to be a misinterpreted tweet, I wouldn't mind. You can hate crime me all day. I really don't mind. You know.
Yeah, but I mean, a hate crime. I mean, you could understand. I could understand if you know, if the tweet called for some sort of action or something, or you know, said let's go get them, or let's fucking, you know, bash gays. Or you know, I could understand that.
Or if the tweet had actually said, "Where's a terrorist with a bomb when you need one?" I would understand, you know.
But even that,
didn't say that.
I mean, in my view, yeah, that's a pretty distasteful fucking tweet if that's what it said. But still, it's just a distasteful fucking joke. It's not a call to action. It's not putting anyone in danger. You know what I mean? That shouldn't be a hate tweeting. Just the very fact that we're using the term hate tweet is just fucking laughable, isn't it? It's a hate tweet. Fucking hell. It's
also laughable that Twitter didn't remove it. It's still there. So hateful. Why is it still there?
That's a good point. So it passes Twitter's rules and regulations, but not the Scottish police's. So the police have come to the door. You've obviously said, "Can I help you?" So how did they put it to you?
They just said, "Do you mind if we come in, have a word?" Sure, no problem. We're here to talk to you about a post you made on social media. And I said, "Well, what was the post?" "Well, we can't tell you that now. We'll have to take you down to the station to question you, but we're not arresting you. We're just detaining you, you know. It'll only be a few hours."
What does that mean? We're not arresting you. We're just detaining you.
Well, that's the thing. It's like they knew before they arrived at my door that they were going to arrest me if I answered the door. They knew that, but it must be the rules. But they just detained me. They told me that it would only be a few hours, and me, as a law-abiding citizen, I thought, you know, when they said it would only be a few hours, that it would only be a few hours. But then when I got there, and the lawyer told me, "No, they're going to arrest you and keep you in until Monday." And then it's just like, well, why couldn't they just have told? Why they could have told me that when I was in the house and said to me, "Look, you might not come back until Monday." Then I could have made the phone call in my house, you know.
Yeah.
But they just didn't. It's like they pure lied to me, you know. And the lawyer also told me that they intentionally arrest people on a Friday night so that they can keep them in all weekend, which I thought was a bit scummy, you know, especially considering I haven't killed a cop. You know, there's no reason for them to have it in for me. And the reason I think it was a Friday night was because, as I pointed out, one of the officers was a Muslim, and I think he wanted to punish me for the joke.
Yeah. And so just so everyone's on the same page, when you say the phone call, you're referring to you're a single dad, and so your son was with his staying at his grand's house.
That's
is that
right? This was late on Friday night. By the time I got arrested, it must have been about midnight, you know, after dealing with a lawyer and all that and getting interviewed. And they said, "You've got the right to the phone call, but the thing is, they make the phone call for you. You don't make the phone call." So they say, "Is there anyone you'd like us to contact?" So I gave them the telephone number of my mother-in-law, and I said, "It's very important that you contact her. Because I don't want my son coming home on a Sunday and I'm not there. He's going to think something happened to me." They didn't make the phone call, and my mother-in-law and my son then come home to my house here, and they don't get an answer. They think something's happened. Then they have to go to the police station, you know, and it's all these little things. Like my mother-in-law was saying to my son, "Look, if the police have to break the door down, you can't go inside," because she thought I was lying dead. Do you know what I mean? And she didn't want my son to see me like that. So all of these little things that my son went through, all because the police couldn't make a simple phone call. They couldn't make a phone call, text message, leave an answer, a voicemail, nothing like that. They couldn't do any of that, but yet they can lock me up all weekend. That was the worst part for me. Being in jail all weekend, that's nothing. But the fact that they couldn't make that simple phone call is what angered me the most.
Yeah, spot on. Sorry, someone in the chat has just said your PayPal link's not working. I'm just gonna just replace it in the description so it's working.
I mean, that's the link I use on my videos, and people link to that. So
it says timed out on my end. So I'm just gonna check if that's fixed it. If you want to watch page. It looks to be working now. If anyone has any trouble, just mention in the chat again. So that link should be fixed now. If anyone wants to go and donate to it. So so I mean, obviously that's going to be a pressing issue. If if they're going to keep you in all weekend, you want to let your fucking son and his gran who's looking after him that you're okay. And so do you know, did they try to make the phone call and just couldn't get through or something, or did they just not make the phone call?
Well, I mean, they just didn't make the phone call. Nothing. I mean, even that's the thing. If they tried to make the phone call and didn't get through, they should have told me that. Do you know what I mean? They should have said to me, "Look, we can't get in contact with anyone." Didn't care, you know. And another thing as well, because I was into the Monday, my son had to miss a day of school. He had to miss the day of school on the Monday because all his school uniforms are in my house. You know, so he couldn't even go to school. So he had to miss a day of school as well because of their fuckery. You know.
Yeah. But I mean, the more pressing thing is, I mean, just the feeling of fucking hell, what's going on when so he's come home with his gran on the Sunday afternoon and knocked on the door, and obviously there's no answer. And so they actually, if I remember right, they actually went up to the police station to tell them.
They went to the police station, and the police offered to break the door down. Right, she didn't want to do that, so she came back down to try again. Still didn't get an answer, and on my phone because my phone was switched off in the police station. Yeah. So she then went up to the police station again, and that's when they then said, "Oh, by the way, we've got him." Police station.
So I understand they went up to just the closest police station, which actually wasn't the police station you were being held at, but still, couldn't the police say, yes, you know, we've done a name search and you know we've got him he's just at a different police station. Surely don't they have a fucking database?
That's what I found confusing. How could they not know this? You know, I mean, because she did give them all my information, and they looked it up to see if they had me, you know, or to see if any of the hospitals had me, and nothing. And yet the second time she goes up, then they say, "Oh, by the way, we've got him." Mr. Well, how could you not have told her that the first time? You know, because remember, this is on the Sunday. They knew they had me since Friday night.
And so how have they found? If they didn't know that another station had you the first time, how have they found out in the meantime?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I don't know how that one worked. Maybe somebody with, I don't know, more clearance or something. I've honestly no idea. But it was the second time she went up. That's when they realized. That's when they said, "Oh, by the way, we've got him. He's in Shield Street or Shield Road. I can't remember what one it is." And so that was
a Sunday afternoon. And so they've come. I assume they would have come down to the station where you were being held.
No. As soon as she knew I was okay, she just took my son back to her house.
Okay.
Because she knew I wasn't getting out until the Monday. So, because even if she did come down to the station, they wouldn't have let me see her. You know, they kept me in the cell. So she just went home with him. And
so, were you aware Were you aware on the Sunday that they had asked for you, or that? I mean, were you told anything on the Sunday?
No. Nothing. I didn't find out until the Monday when I came out of court, and then I finally got my phone back, and you know, I was able to make my call.
So
that's
you,
that's what I found out.
So you came out of court. So you actually had like a preliminary court hearing or something on Monday.
It's straight to the sheriff's court on the Monday morning. I had to wait in there for about, I think it was 5 hours, something like that.
And so what's the purpose of that? What's that court hearing about?
That's where you get to meet your lawyer, and they tell the judge guilty or not guilty, and then the judge decides whether what your court date is, you know,
Right.
when you have to come back and all that kind of stuff. But I didn't have to go through that because I got a pass from the Procurator Fiscal, which is basically his way of saying, or her way of saying, that it's just not important enough to deal with today, you know. And I haven't heard anything since, so I think they've with it now. You see what the lawyer told me, right? The lawyer told me that the police know my Twitter, my YouTube, and my Facebook, right? They know all my social media, and he said so that they're probably going to be watching you. And I thought, right, okay, in that case, I'm going to make that video. So now I've put them in a position. I put them in a position where if they want to push this further, they have to admit that they think a Muslim with a truck means terrorist.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they don't have a case.
Couldn't
you know, so that's the position they're in now, and that's why I don't think I'll hear anything else about this, because you know they're the ones that have messed up here. They interpreted that joke, and that by the way is the point of the joke. That it's the person receiving the joke that and interprets it. It's one of those jokes, you know, like as I said in that video, what do you call a black man in a spacesuit? You know, if you don't answer astronaut. And guilty and going, oh, why didn't I fucking say astronaut? Of course he's an astronaut. You know, the person telling the joke isn't saying a black man can't be an astronaut. The person answering the joke is the one that doesn't say astronaut. You know, the whole point of the joke is to catch the person out.
Well, it's a similar kind of similar sort of trap to Sargon's "I wouldn't even rape you," isn't it? It's you know for Jess Phillips to get all up in arms and say, "Oh, it's a rape threat," and well, no, it's a complete opposite. It's the same thing. If you've taken this as a hate fucking hate tweet, you know, then you know you're the one making the assumption. You're the one making the bigoted assumptions, aren't you?
Well, Skeptor sent me a message, right? And he said, he gave me this brilliant piece of advice, right? Which I've used. He said, if you want to tell a joke that might get you in trouble, condemn the joke first, then tell the joke. So that's what I'm doing on Twitter now. Now on Twitter, I'm going, oh, I totally condemn this joke. And then I tell the joke, you know, because then it's like, then if the police look at it and go, well, wait a minute, that's anti-Islamic or whatever. My first words were, I condemn this joke. So they can't, you know, there's nothing they can do about it. It's a nice wee tip.
Isn't this disgusting, ...
Yes, exactly.
I'm going to keep that in mind. So, okay. So you've sort of got your doubts as to whether they'll pursue this. And yeah, obviously, yeah, they have put themselves in a pretty awkward position where they're going to have to come clean that, you know, Muslim means terrorist in their eyes. So, I mean, well, that's if it doesn't come up and you don't have to, you know, go back to court, that's a plus. But I mean, fucking look at Dankula's case. Like when did he do that Nazi fucking, you know, the pug zig heil thing? That was a year or two ago, and he's still waiting to have his. He's still waiting to have his difference hit the stand.
The difference between his case and mine is that his was a video, so the police know that it was him, whereas mine was a tweet. And as my lawyer told me, there is no way they can prove that I made that tweet. All they can prove is that it was in my account, and it was from my IP address, but they can't prove I wrote the tweet. And that's what they need to prove. And there's no way they can prove it. You know,
how can they know what IP address it was
asking? They tracked me down through, right? They went through my Twitter, they found my YouTube, so they seen my face. Then from there, they found my Facebook, and then that's where they got my name. and then they search for my name.
But what I'm saying is, how do they? I mean, how do you know?
Oh, the IP address.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't. I presume they've done some kind of investigation. I presume. But I don't know how they do it. But
I don't think the normal, everyday Joe Blow can get that. It might be a cooperation thing between the police and Twitter. Fuck.
Mental. Little bro's asking, what's the name of the police station that nicked you? It was Baillieston. Baillieston Police Station was where the police were from. That's where the gay pride director physically went there to make the complaint. And when they arrested me, they took me to Shields Road or Shields Street. I still can't remember which one it is. I think it's near the city centre.
Yeah, and the same thing.
Just for those.
The same thing with the police goes for the director of the gay pride thing. I mean, he's obviously read it in a certain way to interpret Muslim as terrorists. I mean, otherwise, why would you go and report it? So, and what do you think? I mean, that's like, even if you did say fucking terrorists, like, that's a pretty fucking thin skin. I mean, I think you mentioned in your video that and it sort of makes sense that in all likelihood, he's probably reporting these things in order to be able to point out, look at all the hate crimes against gay pride and against gay people to get up the funding at the end of the year.
I believe so, because I keep hearing, not just here but in America as well, regarding Donald Trump. I keep hearing this garbage about, since Donald Trump's been elected, there's been a rise in hate crimes. Well, as someone who's been charged with a hate crime, I don't take that seriously.
Yeah, well,
I just can't. And people have been saying to me, right? Somebody just mentioned it in the chat there, that I should get a VPN, right? Now, my issue with that, right? You should remain anonymous and get a VPN, but my issue with that is I shouldn't be having the police at my door for a fucking tweet that is not in any way encouraging violence, that's not calling for riots or nothing like that. I shouldn't need to be anonymous because I shouldn't have to worry about the police at my door,
Yeah, spot on. And so just on that, I mean, you've obviously mentioned, and it's a fair point, so Scotland doesn't have any right to free speech.
No, which is it's so annoying, because the government here, the Scottish National Party, they every time there's an election coming up, right, they're always sharing these Braveheart images, about freedom and stuff, and it's just such a joke. We don't have freedom here. We just don't.
Have they ever pushed?
And again, this all comes from the government.
Have they ever pushed for a right to free speech? I mean, if they're using Braveheart images and shit. Yeah, fucking
no,
hell.
Never. They're the ones pushing for hate crime legislation.
Oh, fuck.
They're the ones they're at the top of the pile, and they're the ones pushing for this hate crime. They're the ones putting pressure on the police, to combat hate speech and hate crime. Which, two of those terms are so ridiculous to me. It should just be crime and speech. There's no such thing as hate speech, in my opinion. The whole thing is ridiculous. But what bothers me is I've shared these things on Twitter, right, where there is Muslims on the street holding placards saying things like "Police go to hell," "Kill British soldiers," blah blah blah. Death to the West and all that. They don't have to worry. They don't have to worry about a knock on the door from the police for hate speech, but yet I do.
That's ridiculous.
It's clearly one rule for them and a different rule for plebs like me.
Well,
if I was brown, I wouldn't have been arrested.
Well, that's the other condition for hate speech, and it seems to be the same everywhere. I mean, we've got a creeping situation here in Australia where I think things are about to tighten right up, like you're facing there in the UK. But I mean, the term hate speech or hate fucking crime or hate fucking tweet usually only means, I mean, it's never hate speech if it's someone who's not white against someone who's white. It's only always for minorities. It's only for, what's the fucking difference? How is it different if it's a minority? I mean, surely hate is hate.
Well, like the Muslims I'm talking about in the street, I don't want them arrested. You see, because
Well,
I
yeah,
think
no,
I think that you should be allowed to hate.
Yeah, the term hate speech is ridiculous. I'm of the same opinion. But what I'm saying is, if there is going to be a law, surely it should be for everyone and not a select few.
It definitely should be for everyone. That's and the law would tell you that it's for everyone. They would say, no, it applies across the board, but it clearly doesn't. It clearly doesn't. If they knocked on my door and I opened the door and I had a fucking turban on and I was brown, they would have walked away. They would just have been like, shit, we can't push this any further because this guy's allowed to be hateful online because he's a brown and he's a Muslim. So let's leave this, you know. And I know that the police think like this. And that's what's annoying about it. I don't want Muslims to get arrested for hate speech, but it's just not fair that the rules only apply to certain people, usually white, straight men. Usually.
Yeah. It'd be interesting if you picked up on one of these instances in the near future. It'd be interesting to see what would happen if you went to the same police station and said, "Hey, I saw this brown guy up the road, shaking this sign. I'm completely offended. I'd like to report a hate crime, please." I wonder what the response would be.
They'd probably use their common sense and say, "Look, I'm sorry, we don't have time for this." You know, but when the guy making the complaint is a gay guy and he's the director of Pride Glasgow, the police are probably scared of the backlash if they don't pursue it. You know, they're probably scared of the backlash, so they have to pursue it because then they would be homophobic if they didn't pursue it. You know, it's very strange.
Well, there's some real fucked up. We've heard of some fucked up things going on in relation to hate speech and freedom of expression in the UK in general recently. Like isn't there a city I thought there was a city in northern England that recently outlawed catcalling. Does that ring a bell?
That's in Northampton. They said that outlaw catcalling. I've not heard any charges being pressed yet, but it's something that they pushed that the police said they're going to crack down on, you know, which to me is so stupid. I mean, because you've got two groups of women. You've got one group of women who hate catcalling, and you've got a group of women who actually like catcalling. So, you know, it's just, you know, and men, if we're going to be really honest about it, obviously you shouldn't be like shouting at people in the street, right? But they really don't mean anything bad by it, and we know they don't. You know, if they see an attractive woman and they give a wolf whistle, they're not trying to intimidate her. They're not trying to upset her. That, you know, they're just, you know, they may be a bit clumsy with it, but they don't mean it.
If someone was to shout, hey, love, I'd bend you over the fence and fuck you in the ass, fair enough. That might be a bit intimidating, but fucking a hey, love, or a wolf whistle or something is just ridiculous. And the same question pops into my head. You gotta wonder if a big burly bloke in tradie clothes walked into the fucking police station and said, "Hey, you know, this cute little number just fucking catcalled me. I want to press charges."
No, it would never happen. He'd be laughed out of the police station.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And so
that's the problem. That's the problem with these laws. It's they only apply one way most of the time. You know, that's what's annoying about it.
Yeah. And so you got quite heated in your video, and we got very fucking heated, and rightfully so. And you mentioned that Scotland should have a Bill of Rights like America. I feel the same way about Australia. It's ridiculous that these things that should be fundamental rights, you know, are only protected by fucking implied rights by court precedents and shit. It's fucking ridiculous. It should be a fundamental, simple, written in one line. You have a right to freedom of expression. Simple as that.
Well, there was a thing in Britain, I think it was about 7 years ago. It was called Section 5, right? And this is the part of the law where people could be arrested for insulting people, right? So there was a big movement to change that, to take the word insult out of the law. you know, Rowan Atkinson was one of the guys who gave a speech about it, and because they were saying it shouldn't be against the law to insult people. That's, you know, so they changed this about 7 years ago, and yet here we are today. They just altered it to hate crime rather than, you know, insult. You know, it's horrible. But
well,
I do believe we need a bill of rights, like a constitution where we can, like, if I was in America, right? See, if I was in America and the police came to my door, we want to talk to you about a social media post. I can point to the First Amendment and tell them to fuck off.
Exactly right.
I can't do that here.
Well, they wouldn't even come to your door in America because, I mean, it's
exactly
the First Amendment. It's just it's as clear as day. But it's interesting you mentioned that. We actually currently in Australia have part of our Racial Discrimination Act, Section 18C, mentions uses the wording. It outlaws insulting people, or I think it's offending people on the basis of their race. And as a part of the recent postal vote for, you know, in relation to gay marriage, they've put through a temporary bill that extends that to, you know, gender identity, sexuality, you know, a whole myriad of things. That the shadow Attorney General, so the bloke that will become Australia's Attorney General should the Labor Party win the next election, and it looks like they will, has actually said, I would like to make that permanent. So they've just given him the precedent to slide it in, you know, to make it permanent. Yes. And that's why I mentioned, you know, I think that you know, we're very, very likely on a downward slope to having the same sort of situation in Australia, which I'm not real happy about.
Well, I'd be willing to bet that if that happens in Australia, that a transsexual could take to the street shouting "Die cis scum" and won't be arrested.
Spot on. Yeah, because I mean, yeah, you're not allowed.
And by the way, nor should they be. Nor should they be, by the way.
Nor should they be what?
Arrested. They shouldn't be arrested for shouting "Die cis scum," but with these rules, they should be.
Yeah, no shit, but no. But the point is, no one should be arrested for yelling anything like that, unless it's die cis scum, and I'm going to kill you. I mean, I can understand that, yes. but not not just, you know, something that's offensive or something that's, you know, hurt feelings shouldn't be legislated against. It's fucking ridiculous.
Oh no.
Yeah. So how's your son? He must have been pretty shaken up.
I mean, well, he's good now. I mean, it was on the Monday when I got to see him again. He was clinging to me for about 5 minutes because you could see in his face that he was just, you know, really worried, but he was just very happy to see me. And he was telling me, I walked home with him, and he told me that, you know, he was really scared. He didn't know what was going on. He didn't know what was happening, you know, and that's what made me angry, you know. That's what made me really angry. That's when I came home and then just made that video. That's the part that made me angry. That he didn't deserve to go through that because of a tweet. Do you know? It's just he's eight.
Yeah, fucking
8 years old. I mean, it's like Rowan Atkinson said. People will say, if this doesn't go any further, then the law is working. But I was arrested. I was detained, arrested, questioned. I had my fingerprints taken, my DNA taken. You know, I was in jail for the whole weekend. And then I had to go to court. That is not the law working properly. No way is that the law working properly. It's a joke, and it needs to change.
Absolutely. Out of interest, how do they take your DNA? Do they just take a bit of hair or take blood? Or
no, it's a swab inside the cheek, and 2 swabs, one on each side of your cheek. And when they took my fingerprints, this is how stupid I am, right? When they took my fingerprints, I said to the guy, "Where's the ink pad thing?" He said, "We don't fucking do that anymore." He said, "This is Star Trek stuff." And it was like you put your hand on a piece of glass and a laser goes over it.
Oh, really?
Really, that's cool as fuck, man. I was expecting to do the old ink thing that you see in the movies.
Yeah. Well, I'd be expecting that too. But hang on a sec. Before we get too fucking wrapped up about how cutting edge they are, they couldn't tell your mother-in-law that they had you in the slammer.
True. True. They spent all their money on the fingerprint machine and not on their phones.
yeah, they couldn't update the fucking database. So they got laser fingerprint scanners. Fucking hell, Jesus. So that's so I mean, in a way, it's it must be pretty frustrating because you've got this big sort of cloud over your head. You just don't know whether you're going to go back to court, or I mean, no. I suppose there's no way to find out. You've just got to wait it out.
I've just got to wait. I mean, I don't think I'll hear from them again, right? Because I know for a fact that they watched that video because they were keeping their eye on me, right? They're probably fucking watching this video, right? But I know they're watching, and as I say, I've put them in a tight spot now because they have to admit in front of a judge that they think Muslim with a truck means terrorist. And not only that, not only that, if this goes any further, I will go to the mosques and I'll wait outside and I'll speak to Muslims and I'll tell them, and I'll get it on video, and I'll tell them this is what the Glasgow police think of you. Yeah. If you're driving a truck, they think you're a terrorist. I'll tell them that. I'll tell them the joke. I'll tell them what was written, and I'll say that's what the Glasgow police think of you. And I'll tell you, the Glasgow police do not want that to happen because they do not want a bunch of angry Muslims at the police. They don't want that. Especially
a bunch of angry Muslims in trucks.
Right, exactly.
Fuck, there was just a knock at the door, just a sec. Yeah, fucking hell. So,
I mean, it's although it's all silly, you could be arrested for something you say soon. Do you know what I mean? That's how ridiculous it is. That I mean, I was looking back on my Twitter account and I was thinking, my God, I could be arrested for that. I could have been arrested for this and that. So many jokes I make, so many posts I make. I'm thinking I could be arrested for nearly every tweet I make. That's no way to live your life, thinking that you're going to be arrested for every fucking joke you tell.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, I mean, surely after they came to your door and said, come with us, we want to talk to you about a social media post. I mean, if I was in your shoes, I'd be thinking, fuck, which video was it? I mean, you've made a few risque fucking videos.
Well, I was racking my brains in the van to the police station. I was racking my brains, and I honestly couldn't think because all these different tweets and Facebook posts and videos. I was thinking, Jesus, because I recently got a strike on YouTube for a video I made about Ice Cube, and they told me that was hate speech, right? Which it wasn't, but that's what they said. And I was thinking, was it for that video? Because that counts as hate speech? Is that what it is? Because I said the word nigger in a video? Seriously? Is that why I'm getting arrested?
I remember that one.
But, I didn't know until my lawyer told me that, by the way, this was a tweet. I didn't know what the tweet was until they told me. I didn't even know if it was a Facebook post or a YouTube video or a tweet. I didn't know until the lawyer told me. And then when they told me, I was just thinking, seriously? What, that's it? That's mild compared to some of the shit I've said. That's really mild.
Yeah, have a look at this, for fuck's sake, you fucking idiots. What about this one? What about Jesus Christ? Just a reminder, if anyone wants to super chat, if we could divert it to Goodfella's PayPal for his legal defence, should it be required. There has been a couple come through, so I'll just quickly read them out. Desert says move to a country with better rugby and politics. Snowstorm says, good morning, you super cunts. Good morning. Cult of the Lich says denial of phone call and rights when getting locked up is common and global. Sometime I should get my experience being locked up traveling China. Yeah, that'd be disastrous.
Oh, Jesus.
James says, come to America, we'd love to have you. Well, fuck yeah, it's with shit like this going on.
I'm seriously thinking about it, by the way. Seriously been thinking about it.
Yeah, no shit. Antailed Feature says Scotland needs a good kick up the arse. Yeah, well, the Scotland legislators. Definitely. Yeah, I agree. And so, I mean, it just, when I think about, like, what it would take, I mean, I don't even know what it would take to get, a Bill of Rights in place in Australia or Scotland. Presumably, it'd take a lot of fucking effort. It just seems like this monumental fucking achievement that's just out of the realms, but it really shouldn't. I mean, and you've got to wonder why the politicians aren't pushing for it.
Well, exactly. I mean, they should be really pushing for it, because again, what gets me is as well is that it happened in Glasgow. And when you think of Britain, Glasgow is one of those places, it's a bit like Australia actually, where we'll call you a cunt to your face and we mean it as a term of endearment.
Yeah,
we don't mean it in a bad way. To ban free speech here, where I mean, we say some crazy shit here, and everybody here like swears and, you know, speaks their mind. There's not a lot of filters in Glasgow when people speak, and now they're trying to push these filters on people. And, you know, you can't make jokes, and I don't. I'm still not even sure if was it the Muslim angle or was it the gay angle. I'm still not sure. The gay director.
Yeah.
Gay pride director pressed the charges.
That's a good question, actually. That's a good question. Was it the gay angle, or was it?
Because I don't know who's on the victim pyramid. Who's higher? Is it Muslims or is it gays? I'm not sure. I'm not sure who they were doing favours for. Were they trying to save the Muslims, or were they trying to save the gays from horrible speech? I'm just not sure. I really don't know.
All I know is if you live in Scotland and you're a gay Muslim, you can do whatever the fuck you want.
Pretty much. But another thing as well is, as I pointed out, like I know for a fact that Justica and Blair White, that's just two, but a lot of gays and transsexuals really don't like gay pride marches. You know, you don't have to be anti-gay to not like gay pride marches. They're fucking annoying. That doesn't mean you hate gays.
Yeah, spot on. Yeah. Just the flamboyance and the fucking the annoyance of the streets being shut down with a bunch of people parading down. Fucking yeah. That's not to say you hate gay people. It's just to say you hate the silly fuckers, prancing down the street. Or not even that you hate them, that they just annoy you, sort of thing. But to take a fucking what could at best be called a distasteful joke like that and to lock you up is ridiculous. Just one last thing.
Well,
how did your lawyer know that they were going to lock you? I mean, did your lawyer speak to them? With it like before you?
Before he spoke to me, when he finally arrived, he had a word with them and he knew all the details, right? And he said to me, "Look, they're definitely going to arrest you. You'll definitely be here till Monday. So just no comment all the way through the interview.
Yeah,
because now is not the time to make your case." He was right, because if I was to say during that interview, "Oh, what I meant was," that would be me admitting to writing a tweet.
Yeah.
So by saying no comment, at no point I've admitted to writing a tweet. They have to prove I physically wrote that tweet, and there's no way they can do that. It's impossible for them to do that unless they've got 24-hour cameras in my house pointing at me. They can't know for certain that I wrote that tweet. It could have been anybody in my house, So, but it's one of those jokes. I've got another one, by the way, where you get the person hearing the joke to fill in the blanks, right? Another one is, I think everyone should be treated equally, whether you're Christian, Jew, or terrorist. Now, you fill in the blank there. If you're thinking, a certain religion, that's on you. That's not on me. I didn't mention that. Do you know what I'm saying? That's another one of those jokes where you get the person listening to the joke to fill in the blanks themselves.
Yeah, spot on. Well, fucking hell. I mean, I hope, I really hope that this is the end of it. But I mean, then again, as I said, it'd be I imagine it would be a frustrating sort of, up in the air wait, not knowing whether this is going to proceed any further. But look, I hope it doesn't. But I mean, if it does, I mean, I certainly support you on this channel, and I'll do anything I can to publicise any shit you go through, man. But
I appreciate you highlighting this as well, because you've definitely brought more people's attention to this, which I think it needs, and not for me, but for the whole idiocy of the Scottish police. I think they need to be embarrassed. They need to be humiliated.
Absolutely.
But I mean, just think, if this goes further, right? What power are the police giving gays and Muslims in this country? It's quite scary.
Well, and you joked about the fact that they haven't got cameras looking at you 24/7. Well, just fucking wait for it. Just wait for it.
Yeah, I know. They'll probably put those keyloggers on everybody's computer so they know who typed what, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Meanwhile, they're just too busy to take care of, you know, burgles and break-ins and car thefts and fucking and muggings and shit. You know,
Muslim rape gangs. They're too busy to deal with Muslim rape gangs, but they can knock on someone's door for a fucking tweet.
Yeah. We're too busy dealing with all these fucking. We've got a backlog of hate tweets we've got to deal with. Fucking hell. Oh, it's fucking crazy. It is crazy. Good fella, mate. Thanks for joining me. It's it's quite a story, and I wish you all the best with it. And yeah, mate, thanks again for coming on.
An absolute pleasure, mate. Thanks very much for having me on. Appreciate it.
All the best, mate. Cheers.
Bye bye.